Fame has a way of turning people into, well, major jerks for about a year or so. If you ask anyone who's worked with Chevy Chase, they'll probably roll their eyes and say he never quite outgrew his reputation as a world-class jerk. Chase's history of bad behavior on TV and movie sets has become the stuff of Hollywood legend, and not the good kind. Tales of his ego, insults, and tantrums are so plentiful they could fill a comedy roast, and that's not even counting the roast he endured from the New York Friars Club in 2002, which was reportedly brutal even by roast standards. It's almost ironic, considering how big of a star Chase was in the 70s and 80s. His sharp wit and undeniable charm made him a household name, but his antics behind the scenes eventually led to his downfall. By the 90s, his career had hit the brakes, a surprising turn for someone with such comedic pedigree. So what happened? Hollywood, it seems, had enough. The endless string of stories from cast and crew detailing Chase's toxic behavior made it clear he was more trouble than he was worth. Over time, the industry's patience wore thin, and opportunities dried up. Curious to know what exactly led to Chase's infamous reputation? From explosive feuds to alienating co-stars, let's break down how one of comedy's biggest stars fell from grace, and who his most famous enemies are along the way. Chevy Chase was born Cornelius Crane Chase on October 8, 1943, in the heart of Manhattan, New York City. His early life was a curious blend of privilege and turmoil, setting the stage for the quick wit and sharp humor he would later become known for. He came from a family that was as impressive as it was complicated. His father, Edward Tinsley Chase, was a respected book editor and magazine writer, while his mother, Kathleen Parker Browning, was a concert pianist and librettist. On his mother's side, Chevy's ancestry brushed shoulders with the elite. His maternal grandfather, Cornelius Vanderbilt Crane, was an heir to the Crane plumbing fortune and part of the prestigious Vanderbilt lineage. But despite the gilded appearance, young Chevy's home life was far from harmonious. His parents divorced when he was still a child, and he was left in the care of his mother and stepfather, John Sedequist. Life under his stepfather's roof was fraught with tension and emotional abuse, a stark contrast to the luxurious lifestyle his family's wealth suggested. These early experiences gave Chase both the toughness and the knack for humor that would define his personality. In school, Chevy was a natural mischief maker. Whether it was his time at the Dalton School in Manhattan or later at the Stockbridge School in Massachusetts, he had a reputation for being the class clown. His antics often landed him in trouble, but they also gave him a taste of the spotlight, which he clearly relished. Alongside his comedic tendencies, he was a multi-talented kid. He played the piano and drums with remarkable skill, indulging his love for music, and dabbled in sports, excelling at just about anything that caught his interest. The name Chevy was a family gift, bestowed upon him by his grandmother after the Ballad of Chevy Chase, a medieval English ballad. It was a fitting choice for someone whose life would later unfold like a series of misadventures straight out of a comedy sketch. Interestingly, Chase initially had no plans to pursue comedy or acting. For a while, he flirted with the idea of becoming a doctor. But life, as it often does, had other plans. The sharp humor he developed as a coping mechanism for his chaotic home life, combined with his natural charisma, gradually pulled him toward entertainment. His early years were a cocktail of wealth, dysfunction, and raw talent, a mixture that, in hindsight, seemed perfectly designed to create one of the most iconic comedians of his generation. In 1967, Chevy Chase co-founded Channel One, an underground comedy troupe that helped shape his bold, irreverent comedic style. His sharp wit quickly gained attention, and by 1970, he was contributing to Mad Magazine, where his parody of Mission Impossible showcased his flair for satire. In 1973, Chase became a key figure in the National Lampoon Radio Hour, alongside comedy legends like John Belushi and Bill Murray. This experience, along with his off-Broadway performance in Lemmings, where he showcased his versatility as both a performer and musician, set the stage for his breakthrough. Chase's big break came in 1975 when he joined the original cast of Saturday Night Live, SNL. As the anchor of Weekend Update, he became an instant star, known for his sharp satire, deadpan delivery, and physical comedy, including the iconic Fall of the Week. His portrayal of President Gerald Ford as a clumsy figure was a standout, and his catchphrase, "I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not," became one of TV's most memorable lines. His groundbreaking work on Weekend Update paved the way for future news satire shows like The Daily Show and The Colbert Report. Although Chase's time on SNL was brief, he only stayed for one season. His impact was immense. He won 2 Emmys and a Golden Globe, and in 2015, Rolling Stone ranked him among the top 10 SNL cast members of all time. His innovative blend of slapstick and satire was instrumental in shaping the irreverent humor that defined SNL, and his absence after just one season left a lasting void. By 1975, Chevy Chase was already being hailed as the funniest man in America by New York Magazine, and NBC executives were even speculating he might take over for Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show. While Chase dismissed these rumors, unwilling to commit to years of celebrity interviews, it was clear that he was on the brink of something big. Carson himself would later joke about Chase's ability to ad-lib, saying he couldn't ad-lib a fart after a baked bean dinner, which only fueled the public's curiosity about him. Chase's time on Saturday Night Live, SNL, was short but groundbreaking. His deadpan delivery and knack for physical comedy revolutionized the late-night format. Influenced by comedian Ernie Kovacs, Chase blended absurdity with sharp humor, a style that would define his career. Though he left SNL early in 1976 to pursue film opportunities and to follow his girlfriend Jacqueline Carlin to Los Angeles, his impact on the show was undeniable. Bill Murray stepped into his place, but Chase's connection with SNL remained strong. He would return to host the show 8 times over the years, and while there were rumors of tension during his 1997 appearance, SNL creator Lorne Michaels dismissed them as idiotic. Chase's continued involvement with the show included memorable cameos in sketches like Caddyshack with Murray and the Land Shark sketch in 2001. Even decades later, he reunited with his Three Amigos co-stars for a 2013 monologue and appeared in the 40th anniversary special in 2015. Through it all, Chase's bond with SNL endured, cementing his place as a comedy legend. Chevy Chase's transition to the big screen marked the next chapter in his rise to comedic superstardom. After making a name for himself on Saturday Night Live, SNL, he quickly secured roles in films like Tunnel Vision, Oh, Heavenly Dog, and Foul Play. The latter was a breakout hit, earning over $44 million at the box office. Interestingly, the iconic role of Otter in National Lampoon's Animal House was originally meant for Chase, but he turned it down in favor of Foul Play, seeking a role that would showcase his range beyond slapstick comedy. The role of Otter ultimately went to Tim Matheson, but Chase's decision helped him diversify his career. In 1980, Chase reached new heights with Caddyshack, directed by Harold Ramis. This comedy classic, which earned $39 million on a modest budget, cemented Chase's status as a leading comedic star. Though divisive among critics, Caddyshack became a cultural touchstone with its memorable characters and endlessly quotable lines. That same year, Chase reunited with his Foul Play co-star Goldie Hawn for Seems Like Old Times, another successful comedy that grossed over $43 million, further solidifying his position in Hollywood. But Chase didn't stop at acting. In 1980, he released a self-titled music album, showcasing his creativity in a new form. While the album didn't have the same success as his films, it proved his willingness to experiment and explore different avenues of entertainment. Between 1976 and 1989, Chase's rise from SNL star to film icon was nothing short of meteoric. With hit films like Caddyshack, Seems Like Old Times, and several others, he became one of the most bankable comedy stars of the era. His impeccable timing, irreverent humor, and undeniable charisma made him a comedy legend, and his influence on the genre would last for decades to come. Though Chase left SNL in 1976 after only one season, he maintained a strong connection to the show, returning to host 8 times between 1978 and 1997. Despite rumors of tension during his 1997 hosting, SNL creator Lorne Michaels dismissed any claims of fallout, saying they were idiotic. Chase's occasional cameos and appearances, including a Caddyshack sketch with Bill Murray, a Land Shark cameo in 2001, and a reunion with his Three Amigos co-stars in 2013, proved his bond with the show was unbreakable. Even in 2015, Chase participated in SNL's 40th anniversary special, cementing his lasting legacy as a comedic icon. Chevy Chase's rise to stardom in Hollywood was swift and unforgettable. After establishing himself as a comedic powerhouse on Saturday Night Live, SNL, Chase transitioned to the big screen, starring in films like Tunnel Vision, Oh! Heavenly Dog, and the hit comedy Foul Play, which grossed over $44 million. Although the role of Otter in National Lampoon's Animal House was originally written for Chase, he turned it down, opting instead for Foul Play, a decision that showcased his desire to evolve beyond his slapstick beginnings. 1980 was a pivotal year for Chase, marked by his role in Caddyshack, which became a comedy classic, earning $39 million on a modest budget. The film, with its irreverent humor and iconic characters, made an indelible mark on comedy. That same year, he reunited with Foul Play co-star Goldie Hawn in Seems Like Old Times, which grossed over $43 million, further solidifying his status as one of the top comedy stars. In addition to acting, Chase ventured into music with a self-titled album in 1980, exploring a mix of novelty songs and covers. Although his musical endeavors didn't achieve the same success as his films, they showcased his creative range. Throughout the late 70s and 80s, Chase's impeccable timing and irreverent humor made him a comedy legend. Hits like National Lampoon's Vacation, 1983, which grossed $61 million, and Fletch, 1985, earning over $50 million, cemented his place as one of the most recognizable faces in Hollywood. Yet, even at the peak of his career, Chase faced personal challenges. In 1980, during the filming of Modern Problems, he narrowly escaped death after an electrical accident, and a subsequent depression followed the end of his marriage to Jacqueline Carlin. Chase's career continued to flourish with films like Spies Like Us, 1985, and Three Amigos, 1986, the latter of which remains one of his fondest film memories. By the late 80s, Chase was at the top of his game, earning up to $7 million per film and hosting the Academy Awards twice. His appearances in National Lampoon's European Vacation, 1985, and Christmas Vacation, 1989, the latter becoming a beloved holiday classic, proved his enduring appeal. Chevy Chase's 1980s career was a whirlwind of box office hits, personal challenges, and major milestones, shaping him into one of comedy's most iconic figures. As the 1990s approached, Chevy Chase's career faced a mix of highs and lows. While he played saxophone at Paul Simon's 1991 Central Park concert and supported U.S. troops in Voices That Care, he also experienced several film flops, including Nothing But Trouble, 1991, Memoirs of an Invisible Man, 1992, and Cops and Robber Sons, 1994, which collectively earned just $34 million. His attempt at hosting a late-night talk show, The Chevy Chase Show, also ended in failure after just 5 weeks in 1993. Chase humorously referenced this setback in a Super Bowl commercial for Doritos. Despite these struggles, Chase bounced back with films like Man of the House, 1995, Vegas Vacation, 1997, Snow Day, 2000, and Orange County, 2002. In 1993, he earned a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and was named Hasty Pudding's Man of the Year. His public image, however, took a hit in 2002 after a particularly harsh roast by the New York Friars Club. Chase continued to make guest appearances on TV shows, including Law and Order, Brothers and Sisters, and Chuck. He also had a fun cameo in Family Guy in 2009. His most notable TV comeback came when he joined Community in 2009, playing Pierce Hawthorne, an aging tycoon in a quirky sitcom. Despite the show's critical acclaim, tensions between Chase and the show's creative direction led to his departure in 2012, with his character being written out. After Community, Chase made a brief return to film in Hot Tub Time Machine, 2010, and in 2013, he reprised his role as President Gerald Ford in a Funny or Die sketch. In 2015, he returned as Clark Griswold in Vacation, the fifth installment of the National Lampoon series, which was financially successful but received mixed reviews. Chase's most recent project was the 2019 Netflix film The Last Laugh, in which he starred alongside Richard Dreyfuss. Though his screen appearances became less frequent, Chase's impact on comedy endures, as fans continue to celebrate his iconic roles and contributions to both TV and film. Chevy Chase's personal life has seen its share of ups and downs, marked by 3 marriages. His first marriage was to Susan Hewitt in New York City on February 23, 1973. However, the marriage ended in divorce on February 1, 1976. Just a few months later, he married Jacqueline Carlin on December 4, 1976, but their relationship also ended in divorce on November 14, 1980. The couple did not have any children together. After his second divorce, Chase settled in Pacific Palisades, Los Angeles, where he lived in a charming Tudor-style home from 1980 until 1995. During this time, he was even named the honorary mayor of Pacific Palisades, serving in the role from 1986 to 1988. In 1982, Chase married his third wife, Janie Luke, in a ceremony in Pacific Palisades. Together, they have 3 daughters, Sydney, Kaylee, and Emily. The family now resides in Bedford, New York, where they continue to live away from the spotlight. Chevy Chase's struggles with substance abuse have been a challenging chapter in his life, marked by several admissions to treatment centers. In 1986, he sought help at the Betty Ford Center to address an addiction to prescription painkillers. His reliance on the drugs began after he sustained chronic back pain from performing pratfalls and physical comedy stunts during his Saturday Night Live days. This pain led him to use painkillers to cope, eventually leading to addiction. In 2010, Chase described his substance abuse as being low-level, suggesting that it was not as severe as some other cases, but still something that he needed to address. Decades later, in September 2016, Chase faced another battle with substance abuse, this time with alcoholism. He checked into the Hazelden Clinic, a well-known rehabilitation center, for treatment. At this stage of his life, he was grappling with the pressures of his long career and personal challenges, and alcoholism had taken a toll on his well-being. The decision to seek help reflected his desire to regain control of his health and continue his life and career with a clearer mind. Chase has been open about his struggles with addiction, and while he has faced moments of personal and professional difficulty, his decision to seek treatment was a step toward healing. His experiences with substance abuse are a reminder of the pressures that often come with fame, particularly in the high-energy, physically demanding world of comedy. The infamous fight between Chevy Chase and Bill Murray during a 1978 Saturday Night Live episode has become one of the most talked-about moments in comedy history. The two stars clashed in John Belushi's dressing room after Chase returned to host the show, having left his full-time cast role 2 years earlier. The tension between them reached a boiling point when Murray reportedly made a harsh comment about Chase's troubled marriage to Jacqueline Carlin. Not one to back down, Chase fired back with an insult about Murray's physical appearance, sparking a full-blown fistfight that had Jane Cuttin, Lorraine Newman, and Gilda Radner as stunned witnesses. The altercation was ugly, and in a 2021 talk show appearance, Newman reflected on the incident with sadness, calling it very sad and painful and awful. She added that both Chase and Murray, known for their sharp wit, knew exactly what to say to wound each other the most. It was a clash of egos and hurt feelings, a moment where personal grievances were laid bare. But in a twist worthy of a Hollywood script, the two eventually made peace, putting their differences aside to star together in the 1980 comedy Caddyshack. Sometimes, comedy's best collaborations from the most unlikely places, proving that even the bitterest rivals can find common ground, especially if it means sharing a few laughs on screen. Chevy Chase, a trail of troubled relationships. Chevy Chase's career may be iconic, but his off-screen antics have left a lasting mark on his reputation. Here's a look at some of his most infamous feuds. Johnny Carson. Chase shut down rumors that he was a contender to replace Carson on The Tonight Show by claiming he'd never tie himself down interviewing celebrities for years. Carson's sharp retort? Chevy couldn't ad-lib a fart after a baked bean dinner. Robert Downey Jr. During his 1985 return to SNL, Chase crossed the line by mocking Robert Downey Jr.'s late father, cruelly joking that he must have gone to hell. Naturally, Downey wasn't amused. Terry Sweeney. As SNL's first openly gay cast member, Sweeney endured a tasteless suggestion from Chase for a sketch involving weekly weigh-ins to see if he'd contracted HIV. Forced by NBC to apologize, Chase begrudgingly complied but reportedly seethed over it. Dan Harmon. The Community creator had a contentious relationship with Chase, whose character Pierce Hawthorne eerily mirrored his real-life reputation. Things escalated after Harmon publicly insulted Chase and leaked an obscene voicemail the actor had left. Chase departed the show after season 4. Donald Glover. Glover revealed that Chase often made racist remarks on the set of Community, once telling him the only reason people thought he was funny was because he's black. Glover saw the remarks as jealousy from someone struggling to accept his own fading relevance. From slapstick comedy to slapping co-stars, literally, in Rob Huebel's case, Chevy Chase's behavior has often overshadowed his talent. His comedic brilliance is undeniable, but his feuds and controversies continue to shape his legacy in Hollywood.